After spending so much time with Biomutant, I was looking for a shorter, palate-cleansing game to review this week. The Duck-Detective, the Secret Salami, seemed like just the game I was looking for. It was getting some pretty great early reviews, and the first highlighted feature in the marketing material was that the game is only 2 to 3 hours long. Perfect, I thought. Then I played it. Buckle up, this is going to be a rough one. Let me show you the very best part of this game. Here you go.
Hannah! I'm a different duck now. I haven't had a slice of bread in weeks. You have to believe me! Oh. Yeah, you're speaking to the duck detective.
Great. Now you don't need to play it. That moment really was the highlight of my entire 2-hour playthrough of The Duck Detective. Let me explain. The Duck Detective, the Secret Salami, is a very short detective game about a down-on-his-luck duck detective tracking down a thief in an office building who's stolen an employee's lunch. The case ultimately turns slightly more nefarious, but this isn't a murder mystery, and there's never any sense of danger. It aims for the noir feel in the music, the dialogue, and the writing, particularly with the duck detective himself, but it fails to hit any of the high marks of the genre. There's no sense of danger, the mystery is as stale as old bread, and it's missing a compelling villain. Upon solving the final mystery, I was left with a sense of, The Duck Detective, the Secret Salami, has the most underwhelming ending I've ever experienced in a mystery story, video game or otherwise. The reveals are uninteresting, the stakes are as low as can be, and the whole thing is simply one of the most uneventful stories I've ever experienced. Unfortunately, the story in The Duck Detective is the whole salami too. There is very little else here to hold your interest. The game takes place almost entirely in an office building. There are exactly 8 rooms to explore in the entire game. Your job is to walk around the office, talking to all the employees, investigating their belongings, and ultimately drawing conclusions to the mysteries the game presents. It's very point-and-click adventure-esque in the way you engage with its world, but instead of using random items on other random items, you'll collect keywords that you'll use to fill in the blanks of sentences, utilizing your deductive reasoning to answer the various mysteries the game presents, such as, why is so-and-so sad, or what does each employee do? There's also a handy map that highlights the evidence you haven't found yet, which seems a bit odd for a game about detective work, but I was glad it was there just so I could move through the game faster. Some of these deductions are mind-numbingly easy, while others near the end made no sense at all, and at least to me, seemed like contrivances you couldn't possibly have figured out without the game giving you the sentences you needed to fill in. It's more like getting the right answer in Wheel of Fortune. Once there's some letters on the board, it makes sense, but the mysteries aren't ones that make logical sense without that clue. A good detective story has you putting the pieces together along with the detective, but here I was left scratching my head as to how exactly Mr. Duck had put these particular pieces together. Often you'll have to make a few deductions in a row, one after the other, so the information you get really never has time to breathe. The gameplay loop here looks like this. Talk to everyone, click on everything that's highlighted, check your map to see if you're missing anything, fill in the deduction sentences, then do another one and another, then repeat using the new information. I'll be honest, the deduction sentences got so bad that in the final round, I decided to use a guide just so I could get to the ending and see how it all played out. I couldn't be bothered to play Duck Detective's guessing game anymore, and I never felt like it earned its revelations. You'll also be examining people and evidence more closely to gain insights using your detective skills, which amounts to moving a magnifying glass over characters and objects to find highlighted sections. This sounds like a milquetoast enough addition, except that the highlight function is hyper finicky. Sometimes it snaps to the location, and sometimes you have to scan over the same place multiple times before it registers. Normally an arrow pops up and lets you know you found it, but if the highlight is on the left side of the object, the arrow must pop up off screen, as you'll never see it. There's also one single puzzle in this game, and it's awful. Like really, truly awful. Again, I had to use a guide to figure it out, and I'm glad I did because I never would have figured it out on my own. Look, I love puzzle games. Professor Layton is one of my favorite series. Hell, I even used to tutor symbolic logic in college, yet The Duck Detective, the Secret Salami, made me feel really dumb. On the bright side, the game looks really good. It takes a page out of Paper Mario, having all of its characters depicted as 2D paper cutouts, and it really works. I truly loved the aesthetics of this game. The same goes for the voice acting. The entire game is voice acted, and everyone does a really good job, especially the actor portraying the duck detective himself. Mr. Duck has enough time in the spotlight that I grew to really like his down-and-out characterization, and I wish I had a chance to get to see him shine in a better story with a better mystery. The other characters all fall into recognizable tropes like the high-strung cat, the dopey alligator, and the gruff buffalo boss. They all do a really good job too. Unfortunately, the short runtime means I never felt connected to anyone besides the duck, and ultimately didn't care about any of their plights or their fate. So that's it. That's The Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. It's short and boring and tells a deeply uninteresting story. Thankfully, the visuals and the voice acting are genuinely excellent. The music's pretty good too. Look, I can't even fathom how hard it must be to make video games. I do not enjoy bad-mouthing anyone's art, and I really can appreciate the love and care that went into The Duck Detective. Heck, I might even play the developer's next game, and I kinda hope this gets a sequel, with The Duck Detective having a more interesting mystery to solve and some better designed puzzles and gameplay. But ultimately, this is a product that costs $9, and there is no way the story or the gameplay here is worth that. I really did not like The Duck Detective, and I just cannot recommend it, despite its good looks. I'm gonna give The Duck Detective: The Secret Salami a 4.9 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe. And to all the new people who've joined since my Biomutant video, I'm really glad that you're here. That video really popped off in a way I wasn't expecting, and it makes me feel like I'm going in the right direction. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.